Welcome to the castle, everybody. This is Nightsaber Z42, and today we're going to talk about launching your campaign for Starforged. Now, I've already done a character creation video and an actual review for Starforged, but today I'm actually going to essentially go through a session 0 so I can do an example of play. Now, whenever you're starting your own campaign, when you're actually getting ready to do your very first adventure, there's actually 4 different steps that you go through. First, you're going to create your truths. This is where you actually sit down and you talk about the universe and the world and, how everything kind of fits together. Then you're actually going to create your character. I've already done that, but I'm still going to show you what Djon is, or who he is. Then you build a starting sector. This is where you're basically going to be playing in. This is your sandbox, or at least your starting sandbox. And then you're going to begin your adventure. This is actually where you create your inciting quest. Basically that moment where the movie pans in and you actually begin play, or where the movie starts. So let's get right to the table and see what we have to work with. The first step in creating our adventure is to choose our truths. These will set the tone and the background for your campaign by deciding the nature of your version of the Forge. Now, I should point out that each of these exercises, or the steps in creating our overall adventure, will take about 30 to 60 minutes. And to make this video not super duper long, I've already completed the truth step. So when you actually do the truths, there are a series of questions that you'll answer. So the different categories are cataclysm, exodus, community, iron, laws, religion, magic, communication and data, medicine, artificial intelligence, war, life forms, precursors, and horrors. And for this, if you want to do things randomly, you're going to need, I believe, a D100. For some of these, I actually decided to choose, and of course, if there's an option that you want that isn't represented in the book, that's perfectly okay. It's your game, so you do you. So I'm not going to go through each of these questions, but I will go through the series of note cards that I've written my starters on. So for the cataclysm, we escape the ravages of a catastrophic war. The final enemy, a nanomachine hive mind that seeks to assimilate all organic life. And the result of our ancestors' home being destroyed. Second one deals with the Exodus. We are humanity's last effort. A ragtag group of ships made the journey, lasting generations. For communities, many ships and settlements are united under the banner of one of the founder clans. Aliens have their own cultures and worlds, and some have allied themselves with human settlements. For iron, the Ironsworn bind their honor to iron blades. The blades are made of black iron, which was a rarity in the old galaxy. Only Ironsworn carry this rare finite metal. For laws, due to the variance of cultures and settlements, laws and governance vary across settled domains. Bounty hunters are usually given wide latitude to pursue their contracts. At times, they are the law. For religion, our gods failed us. We left them behind. Most see religion as a useless relic of our past. The search for meaning continues, and many are all too willing to follow a charismatic leader who claims a better way. For magic, unnatural energies flow through the forge. Magic and science are 2 sides of the same coin. Very few humans can tap into these mystical energies, but there are plenty of aliens who can. Communication and data. In settled domains, a network of data hubs called the Weave allow near instantaneous communication and data sharing between ships and outposts, often targets for sabotage, only in the most settled domains. For medicine, orders of sworn healers preserve our medical knowledge and train new generations of caregivers. Even remote communities are often served by a novice healer, or can request help from a healer's guild in an emergency. Artificial intelligence. Most fear advanced machine intelligence. Some seek to understand the old machines. Very few want to merge with it. Even the aliens have learned to steer clear of such concepts. Why? Wars. Only the large factions or domains have close to enough resources for such things. Small settlements are left to defend themselves or hire a bounty hunter / Ironsworn. Life forms. This is a perilous but lively galaxy. Even before our arrival, sentient life occupied the Forge. Precursors. Over eons, a vast number of civilizations rose and fell in the Forge. Today, the folk we call grubs or scavengers and audacious explorers delve into the mysterious monuments and ruins of those ancient beings. And then we have horrors. Put enough alcohol in a spacer and they'll tell you stories of ghost ships crewed by vengeful undead. It's nonsense. So those 14 categories make up my truths for the Forge. I've rolled on some, I've chosen for others, and I've kind of added some of my own tidbits in some of those cards. So let's get to creating our character, or rather, let's do a quick recap of my character that I've already created. Here we have Djon's character sheet. His call sign is Hunter. He has +3 edge, +1 heart, +2 iron, +1 shadow, and +2 wits. His momentum, of course, will start at +2, as is the default setting, and his health, spirit, and supply will also start at 5, the default setting. He carries with him a laser pistol and his Ironsworn knife. That knife is what he uses to create his oaths with. His background vow includes him claiming back his home planet. And the way that I had it set up was that it's kind of like a Dune scenario where there was some sort of an invader, some sort of, not a pirate, but maybe his family was betrayed and there was a big coup and he had to flee from his home planet and he seeks to reclaim it back. Obviously this happened when he was a child or maybe a teen and somebody helped him escape his planet. And so that's kind of what I have going for him, at least at this moment. And of course, as we play, that can be developed a little bit further. For his paths, we have Bounty Hunter. When you take a bounty contract and swear an iron vow to see it done, add +1. On a strong hit, you've got a solid lead and may mark progress on the quest. When you fulfill your vow on a hunt, make the legacy reward 1 rank higher. That's 1 extra box if already epic. We also have Armored. When you face danger, react under fire, or clash against physical attacks or impact, you may put trust in your armor strength. If you do, preset your action die to 4. On a strong hit with a match, take +2 momentum as you build confidence. Make an impression on your foes, or improve your position. Of course, we start with the Starship. This is our armed multi-purpose starship. It is suited for interstellar and atmospheric flight. It can comfortably transport several people, has space for cargo, and can carry and launch support vehicles. When you advance, you may spend experience to equip this vehicle with module assets. And we do have 1 module asset in the form of the medbay. When you use your medbay to heal yourself or another patient, you may re-roll your action die if its value is less than your vehicle's integrity. Now that we've taken care of our truths and our character, we can get into some specific parts of our universe, and that's the sector. You're going to need the sector map for this one, and the sector map is actually really nice because it actually has a spot for your map of that sector, and it's also got some spaces for those locations or the settlements that you're going to build. So let's open up the book to page 114 and let's talk about creating the starting sector. Now the starting sector is exactly that. It's where your game is going to start. This might not be where you stay for the entire game, but this is where you're going to start. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to choose what our starting region is going to be. Now, there are really 3 different starting regions. You have the terminus. Settlements are relatively common here, and spaceborne routes between communities are usually well charted. If you want to focus on interacting with other people and communities, start here. Then we have the Outlands. This region represents an area of recent expansion. Settlements here are scattered, and navigational paths are often uncharted and perilous. If you envision yourself as a spacer on a wild frontier, start here. Then you have the Expanse. Only a few bold pioneers have delved these far-flung reaches. If you're ready to face the dangers of lonely exploration within uncharted space, start here. I've already chosen which region I'm going to start with. I want a Wild West type of a area to play around in, so I'm going to choose the Outlands. So this actually determines the number of settlements that we're going to start with. And so for the Outlands, we're going to have 3 settlements. And on my sector map, I've already designated 3 areas for my settlements. Next, we get to generate some settlement details. We need to decide on some settlement names, locations, population, authority, and some settlement projects, or the resources that they're exporting or importing, things like that. I'm actually going to swap out my big hefty book for the reference guide, which is very nice to have. It has all the same information, but it lays nicely on the table. So we have these settlement names, and I'm actually going to roll randomly 3 times for this one. So let's grab the D100 and see what we could come up with for the settlement names. All right, we have 89, which is Summit. Ooh, I like that one. For spot number 2, let's see what we come up with. 30, that is Freya. And for spot number 3, we have 38, which is Karma. So we have Summit, Freya, and Karma. I actually like those 3 names, so I'm going to keep them. Next, we have the settlement location. Now, there are 3 different locations. You can have it on the planet, in orbit, or in deep space. For my first one, I'm actually going to go ahead and designate this one as planet side because I actually have something in mind for this specific location. But for the other 2, I will roll to see what happens. So let's grab our dice and let's see where Freya is going to be located. We have 99. Wow, so that's going to be deep space. And for Karma, let's see what we come up with. We have 38, which is planet side. Next, we need to determine what our population is going to be. So there are different columns for each of the different areas, from Terminus, Outlands, and the Expanse. For Summit, let's see. We have 9. That is going to be few. For Freya, 72. That is thousands. And for Karma, 27. That is dozens. Okay, so it looks like our sector's a little sparse on the population, but that's okay. That could definitely change over time as we discover more things. For now, let's go to authority. So for each of the settlements, we're going to go ahead and roll on the authority table. And this goes from none to law and lawless all the way to oppressive. So let's see what Summit's going to have. 60. That is unyielding. What about Freya? 34. Tolerant. And for Karma? 40. That is also tolerant. Last but not least, and at least in terms of our settlement details, we get to decide or roll for the settlement projects. And this ranges from things like agriculture to spirituality, research, or manufacturing of goods. We're going to roll at least twice on each of these. Well, actually, I'm going to change that a little bit. I'm going to roll twice for each of the planet-side settlement locations and once for the deep space one. Kind of makes sense that way, or at least in my head. So for Summit, let's see what our first roll is. We have 80, which is subsistence. And for roll number 2, 54. That is mining. How about for Freya? We're just going to do one roll since it's in deep space. We have 3, which is agriculture. That is really odd, and it doesn't really fit what I kind of have in mind. For me, that seems like it's going to be, well, not agriculture since it's not on the planet. So I'm going to elect to re-roll that one. We have 65, which is research. There we go. That kind of fits. So I'm going to roll with that one. And for karma, we're going to roll twice since it is on the planet side. First roll is 42, which is hunting. So we can expect some big beasts there, at least. And for our second roll, we have 74, which is shipbuilding. All right, so we got hunting and shipbuilding for karma. Next, we get to generate the planets that these settlements are on or in. And I already have a plan for Summit, the first planet-side settlement that I have. This is going to be a desert world. And I like the idea of a desert world because, I mean, think of Star Wars and, you know, A New Hope and things like that. Even The Mandalorian, there are places that are desert worlds where the Mando goes to. So I kind of want that Wild West feel, and I think starting on a desert world definitely fits that description. So that really only gives us one roll on the planet table. Since Freya is in deep space, we actually don't need to roll for planets on that respect. So let's go ahead. We got our dice. Let's see what we come up with. 57. That will be a Jovian world. A massive planet with vast layers of dense gases surrounding a small rocky core. Think Jupiter. In addition to generating the planets, we can also generate some stars. This is purely optional, and for the sake of this video, I'm actually going to go ahead and skip that. So let's go on to the sector map. Now, for the sector map, we actually have full freedom to put our locations where we want them on this map. So let's take a look. I have a desert planet, a deep space, whatever, and a Jovian planet. I would like our desert planet to kind of be in the middle of nowhere. I like it to be out there. I would like it to be somewhat difficult to reach. So let's say we put it somewhere around over here. I think it would serve us best if Freya was somewhere close to the edge of the sector. And I do have a plan for that and the reason why. And then for karma, our Jovian planet, which I've named Tempest, we're going to put that somewhere up on the northern portion of the sector map. Next, we get to create passages. Now, depending on which region of the forge you are doing your starting sector in, it'll determine how many passages you have, or routes, or think of them as roadways that connect your settlements. So we get 2 passages, and I'm going to make one of them lead out of the sector. So further in our adventure, if we elect to, we can actually travel away from the sector. So I'm going to link Tempest and Freya up. That leaves Mirage out in the middle of nowhere, the boondocks, let's just say. And I think that kind of makes sense. So those are our 2 passages. We have Tempest and Freya linked up, and Freya can go off somewhere towards the south of the sector map to another sector. Next, we're going to zoom in on a settlement, and we're going to take a look at the desert world Mirage, where our Summit settlement is located, and where I would like our inciting adventure to take place on. So we're going to take a look at what we see upon first look. And there's a nice little chart here, so let's get our D100 ready. We're going to roll twice on this one, and our first roll is 83, which is a temporary or seasonal location. That's an interesting one. And for our second roll, we have 84. Toxic or polluted habitat. Also very interesting, and I like it. And already with this roll, I'm finding ways to link those 2 together. So what if the people have to continually move around as like some toxic, polluted like sand or something is, you know, going through the desert planet or something like that. Or maybe just like high winds or something like that. There's something that drives these people to continually have to relocate every season. It's a very interesting concept, and of course we can explore that further down the line. Next, we get to decide or roll for settlement trouble. So there's a nice list here. We're going to roll once or twice on this one, depending on what we get. But let's see what we have for summit. We have 62, which is plagued by sickness. And for our second roll, we have 57, which is mysterious deaths. Well, I don't think it's really going to be mysterious if it's plagued by sickness. But maybe there's something that we can do with that. Next, we'll need to take a look at the atmosphere of our planet. And to do that, we'll need to actually go to that specific planet type. So Desert World is planet type number 1. And so there's a nice list of atmospheres. So let's go ahead and roll for that one. 43, which is marginal. Okay, I can work with that. Next, we get to roll the observed from space. So this is what we see as we're flying onto the planet, or when we see the planet coming up on our screens. We have 11, which is dry seabeds. And we'll go ahead and roll one more time on that list. 29, which is massive canyons. I like that. Very thematic. Next, we get to look at the planet side features, but I'm not really going to roll on this one because I'm presented with an opportunity to kind of really make things click together. So we have seasonal location and polluted habitat, but we don't really have a reason why those things are connected. And I was looking at the options for planet side features, and I see windborne metallic sand, which maybe that just blows across the planet, which forces the people to have to move around so often. So I'm going to elect that as one of my options. And what better way to pair that off with than the engulfing sandstorms? So now we're going to get to create our local connection. This is somebody that we're going to go to for contracts as a bounty hunter. And this kind of serves as somebody that we can use to gain resources or ask for information, somebody who knows the area, let's just say. And so we're actually going to need the bonds sheet for this one. Now, I've already decided on a few options for this specific person that I have in mind. This is going to be a bounty hunter guild agent. Think of the Mandalorian, at least in the first season, when the Mando goes into that town and he's turning in all of his bounties. We're going to have that sort of a person. So we're going to say that is going to be this person's role, the bounty hunter guild agent. We also need to decide what their rank is going to be. This determines how difficult it is to essentially rank up or create a bond with this person. And we're going to just go ahead and mark that as formidable. This guy is all about business. He's not really looking to make friends. So I think it would be a little bit harder to kind of really befriend. So let's take a look at the first look for our connection character. I got my D100. Let's go ahead and roll and see what we come up with. 99. Wow, youthful. Okay, that's a very interesting one. And we're going to go ahead and roll one more time on that one. 41. Youthful and grim. Huh. Now we get to decide what this character's goal is going to be. I'm going to elect to roll on this one instead of coming up with my own, just because I want the surprise element for this one. So let's go ahead and roll and see what we come up with. 58. That is to repair a technology, to repair something. Okay, interesting. And of course, we don't really have to elaborate too much on that just quite yet. We can play to find out what that is. Let's go ahead and take a look at the revealed character aspect. Depending on what we get, we can roll between 1 to 3 times on this, and I'm going to elect to roll just once on this chart. At least, well, we'll see what we come up with. So let's go ahead and roll and see what we got. 77. That is secretive. Okay, I like that. I actually like that so much that I'm gonna roll again and see what else we got. 70. Okay, 70 is quiet. That does fit with secretive. You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. And you know what? It fits so well. Why don't we roll one more time as our third choice, our third option. 76. Wow, we really like the 70s for this one. Resourceful. I definitely like that one, so we'll take it. Secretive, quiet, and resourceful. Their goal is to repair a technology. They're youthful and grim. So now we need to come up with a name or a call sign for this character, and I've already kind of got one. We're going to go with Asha Sakir, or their call sign will be Anvil. And they will be located on Freya, the outpost in the middle of nowhere, or in deep space rather. We're going back to Big Chungus' book for this one, because now we need to introduce a sector trouble. So there's been rumors of a sector-wide peril, conflict, or mystery. You may come up with a trouble appropriate to your setting and character, roll on the action and theme oracles for inspiration, or pick or roll on the table below. And I think I'm going to go ahead and roll on this one just to see what we can come up with. And this will be something that just kind of, that we might run into when we're playing. It might not. We'll find out. So let's grab our D100 and go ahead and roll to see what we come up with. 40. Newly found resource lures greedy fortune hunters to the sector. I like that. There's so much that we can do with that specific sector trouble. We might even elect to do some sort of a faction in the future, but I would like to play a little bit before deciding on that factor for now. Now we actually get to finalize things. We're going to give our sector a name, and that will actually probably be it. So we've got one last random table to roll on, the sector name. We're going to roll twice on this for a prefix and a suffix. Here's our D100. Let's go ahead and roll. 49. Igneous. Igneous what? Igneous 30. Igneous drift. Okay, we'll roll with that. So Igneous Drift is going to be our sector name. In the Outlands, currently not being controlled by any faction, although that is subject to change if I so feel. So we've discovered our truths, we've created our character, and we've created our starting sector. Now we actually get to begin the adventure. Kinda. We're going to go ahead and envision the inciting incident. This is going to be our starting quest, so to speak. And instead of rolling randomly, I've already kind of determined what Djon is going to be doing for his first go around on this adventure. He's going to be tasked with finding a missing doctor on Mirage, specifically the Summit settlement on that planet. And this is significant to him because this doctor is actually someone from his home planet. This was actually his father's caretaker, in a way. So now he's got a reason to go to Mirage and find this person and kind of get started on his whole background quest of reclaiming this planet. And having allies from his planet is a great way to get that going. After we do our inciting incident, we get to set the scene. Now, you can do this as you're traveling to the location that this incident takes place on, or you can do it in media res, which means in the middle of. I'm going to save that for session 1. And we can also make the move Swear an Iron Vow during that time as well. So that's actually it for this video. So feel free to leave a comment down below, give this video a huge thumbs up to support this series, and subscribe if you want to see what crazy antics Djon is going to get up to. And I will see you guys in the next video.